Hello, welcome, and thank you so much for clicking on this video. So today is another digital video, and this one is an art trade with PYRORAT on TikTok. So they drew this awesome picture for me of my OC, and in return I'm drawing their OC. You can see the reference photo in the corner. So as you can see on the time lapse, the first step was just with a really thick pencil. I like to use pink for sketching, but that's just personal preference, just because I like the colour pink. So I did a really rough sketch with the big one just to map it out, get the proportions, get the positions in the right spot, and you know, all of that jazz. And now I'm going over it with a much thinner pencil to add the details, refine it a bit, and yeah. This character was really fun to draw. I think the design is really cool, and I love all the different little details. I don't really go very adventurous with my own OC designs, so I just think this character is really cool and makes me want to experiment more. At this point, I started doing the line art a little bit, but I wasn't entirely happy with the sketch, so I flipped it, readjusted it a bit to make it look better, and now I'm going back with the line art. I was originally planning to colour the line art afterwards. I haven't done that before, but I've been wanting to try it, but I either forgot or I decided that I didn't want to. I forgot. I have a terrible memory, but I think it still looks okay at the end with the black line art, but I would like to try in the future doing some coloured line art. The arms were so difficult to get right, to get the position. I moved them around so much, you could probably see in the sketching phase and in the line art phase. This little armpit was so hard to draw. I just moved the arm closer because it just looked awkward, you know. And my favourite part, the face. I'm really happy with how the face came out. I don't know what it is about it, but it kind of doesn't look like my style. I did the actual face shape a lot rounder than normal, but I think it came out quite well. I think she looks really cute, and I'm not sure if I really captured the same like look that the original drawing has, just because our art styles are so different, but I tried my best to make it look as similar to her character as I could. The line art on the hair was quite tricky, and throughout the whole thing I kept on going back, cleaning it up, adding more lines. When I did this bit, I did way more lines than I did the rest of the hair, so I went back, as you can see, and added more detail. And later on, like, hair is quite difficult for me to do digitally. Like, if I try to do it the same way I do traditionally, sometimes I do it a bit differently, like with less detail. I just draw the shape and then colour it in and add the details in the colour. But this is the way I like doing hair traditionally, just with the, I like to do big clunks of hair and then add lines through those clunks to, I don't know, I think it looks good. But it's very difficult to do traditionally, and all the lines end weirdly, so you can see me constantly go back and clean it up. And now I'm colouring. I couldn't really tell, I don't know in the original picture, but she actually has purple skin. And I picked all the colours directly, I picked all the base colours directly from the image, but then mixed my own colours for shading and highlights. But later on I did adjust the colours a bit to fit my style a bit more. I actually really like the colour palette. It's a secondary colour palette, so it uses purple, green and orange, which looks really good. I'm not usually a fan of secondary colour palettes if it's only two of the secondary colours, but I think it looks good when it's all three of them, and if you do it right. And I think there is a good balance of all the different colours. There's I think purple is definitely the dominant colour, just because it takes up more space than the others, and then orange and green accent really nicely, and yeah, I just really like it. They obviously have a good grasp of colour theory. I'm still trying to learn colour theory. It's difficult because usually when I try to do good colour theory, I usually either fluke it or I just steal a colour scheme from another picture, or I just use a really cliche colour scheme like the, I don't know, pink and yellow. I find that just if I limit my colours, if I just pick 2 colours that I like, they normally look good together. Like, there are some colours that I don't think look good together, like pink and purple. I don't know why. I used to really like them together, but I think it's just, yeah, I don't know what it is. It can work depending on the shade. I think if you have one of them be really light and one of them be really dark, it can work. Usually the purple being really dark and then the pink being really light and pastel. I think that does look good. But anyway, I got sidetracked. So what I did for the colouring this time is, on separate layers, I made a clipping mask for each different thing. So here I am cleaning up the edges to make a clipping mask for the orange hair, and this was really good because it meant that I couldn't go outside the lines and I couldn't bleed into other areas. I talked about it a bit in my last video, which was the Galaxy Girl, so I'm doing the same thing this time, but I'm making a separate clipping mask for each layer and each different colour. You probably noticed, but I didn't show you a great chunk of when I was shading the skin, and that's because the app was glitching out a lot. It just kept on crashing. While I was drawing, the app would just exit, and then when I went back in, it had like reversed the last couple steps of what I'd done, and whenever I zoomed in, it did that, but I can't do digital art without zooming in. Like, you can see I'm constantly zooming in and out, but it was doing that and it was really annoying me. But then I just restarted my iPad and it was fine, but unfortunately it messed up how I was shading the skin. You might have noticed also that I was colouring the hair really messily because I didn't want to zoom in and make it crash, but yeah. Autodesk Sketchbook is a really good app, but being free, it does have some problems and it gets a bit glitchy sometimes, but I find that just restarting your iPad, it'll be perfectly fine. I couldn't tell what colour her eyes were supposed to be in the original picture because they just coloured them in with the line art colour, so I just made it purple to go along with the colour scheme a bit better. And I'm almost done now. You could see I adjusted the colours, so I think they look better now, and it's done. I hope you liked it. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you watched all the way to the end, tell me what your opinion on spiders are. My opinion is that they are really cool, but and really good for the ecosystem. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and check out PYRORAT on TikTok. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.